Hey, what's up everyone? Ben and James here. Thank you so much for joining us, and we just finished watching the Andor season finale just mere minutes ago.
Yep.
And what an outstanding payoff, what an outstanding series. We were just riding the high of it, and this is what Star Wars really needed, and honestly even Disney Plus. To be
hell yeah.
Yeah, even considering like not their Star Wars but like their Marvel and all that.
Yeah,
to me it's
that's
just
true.
it meandered a lot. You
Yeah,
know?
Disney Plus didn't really have a big solid hit on their hands, and this isn't really it in terms of viewership, but I think this is for sure the most well-written show that has been released yet, and what a great wrap-up this finale was.
So, before we get into all that, thank you so much for joining us. Get yourself a cold one, and let's talk about it.
Let's go. Cheers. Alright guys, so this is going to be our little non-spoilers first impressions of that finale for you, and then just like a little rating. For any of you who aren't watching the show and are watching us and want to know what we thought, I don't know why you would be doing that, but I mean, I'm sure there's a couple of you, so we just want to make sure we don't spoil anything. So, what do you think? First off, for your first impressions for this finale, what do you think? What kind of rating would you give it?
I would go with the 9 out of 10. Now, it seems a little bit of a drop from the last couple of episodes that I was a 10 out of 10. I do have a couple of nitpicks, but I mean, they're not even dislikes. They're just a little bit of nitpicks. Maybe after rewatching the finale again, maybe once or twice, letting it settle, letting the story digest, they might even dissipate. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it at 9 out of 10. I do think it was an outstanding conclusion. It really paid off. So anyone who's saying that the show's slow, that it's boring, give it a chance, guys, because this was one of the best finales that we've had in a long time. Really great.
Yeah, I would say it's almost right up there with the Mandalorian season 2 finale. It wrapped up everything you wanted it to. It wraps up everybody's story. I would give it a 9 out of 10 as well. And usually, but this is how things go for me. Like, when it comes to shows like this that I love, even like Game of Thrones is a big example. The penultimate episode is usually the 10 out of 10. It's usually the most bombastic, the most exciting. And then when it comes to the last episode, it's a little bit slower because they're like methodically trying to wrap things up. So it's not like as bombastic. There's no like huge reveals or anything at the, because it's the end. They're just trying to like wrap up all these storylines and then leave a little bit left to keep you excited for the next season, like to lead into the next season. So that's pretty much how this episode goes. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. There is those bombastic moments. There is like really big excitement and tension in this episode, and there is a nice wrap up for all the characters.
So, speaking about the likes on this episode, I mean, we could be here all day. This would be a 30, 40-minute conversation because just what is there to not like, honestly? That opening shot, it's just really gloomy and it looks great. I love seeing like alien planets. Yeah, and then you see the stormtroopers. Now you see like what people were complaining about, like the Imperials, there's no stormtroopers. Like all the Imperial presence is there. Idra looking like this calculating bitch, just this person you don't want to get in her bad side. She's there. Looks really great. The music, everything just looks outstanding.
I love the term calculating bitch. That's great that you just came up with that. I love how gloomy it feels though. Yeah, it's just like it's dark, it's thundery. You feel like there's eyes watching. You see Bix in her cell and like the camera's turning to her all menacingly. And like you see this guy on the planet just like watching what's going on, and you like what's going on? Like you just felt like there are eyes everywhere because that's what it is. It's like this culmination of everybody showing up to this. Everybody's watching. All eyes are on this funeral.
Sometimes it feels like somebody's watching me.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. The beginning of this episode felt exactly like that.
And then after that, we cut to Mon Mothma. And once again, what else is new? Perrin, her
being
husband.
Being a piece of shit. Being an idiot. Gambling away. She's like, don't lie to me. You've been gambling. And she's like, what are you talking about? What? Me gamble? Nah. Me be a piece of shit? I don't think so.
Yeah, and then driver, privacy, please. And then he like mutes the conversation. Then he unmutes it, so he's all...
Yeah, he's like, he can't hear us. And he's like, listening the whole time.
He's getting all the drama.
Yeah.
And later on, we find out that he's actually informing the ISB. So
of course.
The ISB have been watching Mon Mothma
the whole time.
So.
And we've known that. And also we see the son of Pac building something.
Yeah. Pac that was killed
something together.
in a couple episodes earlier.
And you're like, this guy's not up to any good. This little kid is pissed.
Yeah, they killed his dad.
Dude. And after that, we get Vel meeting up with Cinta. Cinta's been all business, all about the rebellion. She is all in. She has her eyes on the prize. Our girl Vel has her eyes on a different kind of prize. Vel is a little too much into Cinta.
A little clingy.
A little too much. Like, with everything that's going on, I mean, it's fine to be clingy. It's fine to love somebody. It's fine to, like, yearn after them and stuff like that. But, like, girl, come on. This is, like, there's a lot going on here. But Cinta's all about the job, man. She's all about the rebellion. She's doing her job. She's trying to make sure this thing is going. She can tell the Empire is here. Like, stakes are high. And Vel is just like, why didn't you give me a hug, though? I wanted a hug. And I'm like, man.
Pathetic. So Cinta and Vel are on Ferrix. Of course, everybody's going to be on Ferrix because they know that, this is where it's going to go down. The Empire's after Cassian. They're after Cassian. So they're all trying to keep an eye out for the prize. Who's going to get him first? And our boy Luthen is there as well, of course. And of course, him being the ringleader of this organization, of that rebel cell, he goes to talk to her. She tells him the rundown, the summary of, okay, the Empire's keeping an eye out. And he's like, good, they'll do the work for us.
Yeah.
Where would they take him? The hotel. Good. So they do the work for us. We kill him before he starts talking. Like, I mean, Luthen is
like,
ruthless.
Goddamn.
Cold-blooded.
Like, all right.
You even see Val's face, like, I feel like eventually there's going to be a clash between them in season 2. Like, she doesn't want to, like, work under him, or she doesn't like his ways. Andor, during his flight to Ferrix, he's been listening to the manifesto, so he's a little bit more open to it as opposed to back in episode 3 or 4 where he's a little bit more jaded. He's a little bit more like, whatever, I don't care. I'm just here to do a job. By the way, here, just a little side note, he's looking out into the Ferrix night and it's thundering, and you just see like the silhouette of Cassian like against the ship's door. Oh my god, what a beautiful shot.
We get this scene where they talk about the Empire went through with killing Krieger, and because Krieger went through with his mission and they knew everything about it, and they didn't get any prisoners. What a bunch of idiots. Like, what a bunch of morons. They just killed them all. But I mean, you could definitely see like Palpatine's influence, because they even mentioned that the Emperor wanted them to just they wanted to get the taste of Aldhani out of the Emperor's mouth, they say. But I could just hear the Emperor behind it just being like, do it. Kill them all, do it. Like, you just know this dude doesn't take prisoners. He just wants them dead. But what a bonehead move. Andor's got his priorities straight here. He's looking for Bix. He comes down to Ferrix, and all he's interested in is finding Bix and freeing her.
She's not looking too fresh, but, give her a couple of weeks,
I don't know, man. Homegirl seems kind of past repair, almost.
Yeah, there was a little bit. I was wondering while we were watching it, like, I wonder if she has, like, permanent mental damage, like brain damage, or like just severe PTSD where she can't function anymore.
It's so sad to see her character in this show, because constantly, every time Andor visits her, or when he sees her, she's delirious, and like it's like she doesn't even know that it's Andor talking to her.
Cyril and his friend, they're there scouting as well. I mean, everybody's here. It's just like a powder keg. Who's gonna find who? Who's gonna shoot who? You're just at the edge of your seat. The whole episode, I was just like, oh my god, like just
everybody's
what's
here.
Gonna happen?
All these storylines that we've been following are all intersecting, and it's just fun. Like, who doesn't love that? Who doesn't love like separate storylines coming together into one place at one time?
Then here we go. The band starts playing. So Ferrix, they have like a little marching band with the little space tubas and stuff.
Oh, it's so great.
Yeah, it's just like a cool little world building. We get to know a lot about Ferrix in this show and like their little customs.
Traditions,
And I thought that was really great. That's what we've been missing from Star Wars for a long time.
It's just that much more world building. It just gives you that much more content. Gives you that much more insight into this another culture.
So as they're starting to march down Rix Road, hundreds of people that showed up.
300-400 people.
Yeah. So this thing's just like a powder keg. It's just, oh my god, it just takes that one little match to just start it all. And of course, it does. B2 Emo just plays a hologram of Marva.
Yeah.
And she just says this beautiful line. And once again, the production quality looks really great here.
Yeah.
Little by little, kind of bringing in the Empire, and we let them come and go.
We've been sleeping, bro.
Exactly.
We've been asleep, bro.
Yeah, but they're not here as visitors anymore. And she cares about Ferrix and all this stuff, and it just gets people just riled up, and like of course, as she says this, you could see the Empire behind them with their riot shields, and so then they're it's like she was right. They're right there. You know, it's like
they're all here. I'm surprised they didn't shut that hologram down a lot sooner. As soon as she said like the Empire fucking sucks, I was like, dude, they're gonna shut this robot down. And then somebody kicks him. The same dude like kicks B2 Emo over, and that's why you don't mess with the droids in Star Wars, because as soon as that happens, all shit breaks loose. Big guy
starts just swinging the marble brick.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna get that break and then bust this dude over the head. Everybody starts fighting. Imperial's getting beat up. The guards getting beat up and stuff. But there's also Pak's son.
Oh yeah,
has this homemade bomb that he has. What a lucky throw, by the way. That's a little convenient, I'd say. But what a lucky throw. It blows up one of their machines, and it had their storage of other grenades, and then all those grenades go off.
Yeah.
So like basically all hell broke loose. During this whole riot, Dedra was like looking around, trying to find things that are going on, trying to like get the jump on people. Like, you know, she's doing her job the best she can. And she gets caught up in the whole mess of it, and she ends up getting like carried away by
like the mob.
Yeah, but like 8 different people. We thought she was just gonna get ripped apart there and then.
It was a good little couple seconds of her just crapping her pants.
Yes.
She was just in complete terror. It was great. I was like, get her. My bloodlust was just like at an all-time high. Like, hang her from a tree or something.
Somebody has to die. Somehow Ciro saves her from this mob. He like whisks her away, and she's like so thankful. She's like, you just saved my life, dude. She's like, I feel like I should thank you. And he's like, no, it's all good.
What a simp.
But we get to see like a connection here. Like finally Dedra is noticing this guy might be worth something.
He's
because
a cutie.
he saved her life, you know? Like that's worth something. And they're just like all close and staring into each other's eyes, and you're like, oh shit, well this stalker, she's just gonna end up falling in love with this guy. Like
and it cuts off there. We don't get back to them. So it's like,
yeah.
It's
a big like, ooh, like what's going on in that room, dude? What happened in that little locked room? Who knows, dude? There could be a real power couple in the future. Yeah, it could be a real Kim and Kanye situation going on here.
I foresee them being like the main thread of season 2.
Possibly, so. Yeah. That's a good theory, and I think it could do that. And then one of them's gonna get killed off, either Ciro or Dedra, and then that's just gonna drive the other one to be even more of a threat. I'm calling it right now. They're gonna be in a relationship. One of them's gonna die, and the other one's gonna do everything they can to avenge their death.
Their death. Yeah,
I can see that happening.
After this, Cassian manages to take Bix to the scrapyard that had a ship. So a handful of folks, and then he takes Bix, and he's like, I'll find you guys, I gotta go. Cassian has unfinished business, so he decides to not leave, and he makes his way somewhere else. And later on, we see Luthen. So he gets to his badass ship. For once, Luthen, somebody gets the drop on him. Someone, surprises him. And it's Cassian, and he's like, you're gonna shoot me? You're gonna kill me now? Or take me in? And he just like, it's just this tense moment, like, are they gonna kill each other? I was convinced that Cassian was gonna kill him. For a second, I thought he was gonna kill him.
He rigged the gun. I was like, either he put that gun there and like either with no bullets in it, or he set it to explode. Mm-hmm. If he does choose to kill me, it's gonna explode on him. Or something.
Yeah, I was thinking something like that, like some trickery. But no, it was like.
But Luthen says that. He says, "What game is this?" Because he's like, "This, you would never do this. Nobody would do this." He's like, "There's no game, dude. Just kill me or take me in." Andor's all in now.
Let's talk about dislikes. Now, Ben, did you have anything that you didn't like?
Yeah, well, I mean, earlier in the episode, I already said this is a 9 out of 10. It wasn't as bombastic. And I did have a little bit more issues than I did with, like, the last 2 episodes. Starting with how emotional I felt like Vel was. And, like, it feels, like, weird. I mean, we don't really know a lot about Vel's character. We know she loves her cousin. We know she is in it for the rebellion. But, like, how much is she in it for the rebellion? In this episode and in others, it's like she's more into Cinta and their relationship than she ever is about the rebellion. Another dislike I would say I had was when Dedra was being carried away by this mob, and how Ciro just... I gotta watch it again. It was the first time we watched it. We just watched it right now. But I felt like, how did Ciro even get her away from this mob and get her alone? Like, you think the mob would just let her go? This really high-ranking ISB member who is very, like, obviously high-ranking because she's in this big white garment and stuff like that. Like the mob just was like, okay, you can take your cereal. This guy we have no idea what. Like she was carried away by like 10 people, bro. Like all of them were just like, okay, you can do whatever you want with her.
Yeah, he just like walked away. Like
yeah, with no, he didn't have to punch anybody. He didn't have to shoot anybody. The only other reason why I would give it a 9 out of 10 and not a 10 out of 10 is because I was looking for kind of like a more of an oh shit moment, which I call it that because like in the last episode when Luthen takes down all those ships and escapes, that's an oh shit moment. I was looking for more something like that at the end of this episode. The best oh shit moment of a Disney Plus Star Wars series has been when Luke came back in his X-Wing. You see the X-Wing and you see Luke get out of the elevator. Those are two big oh shit moments for me. And I was hoping this finale would have that. It didn't for me. But those are really my 3 only little nitpicks for this episode.
For me, my only dislike is after the end of the last episode, I was dreading what was going to happen. Like, all these characters are going to come together, and of course, there's going to be friction, there's going to be conflict, and who knows what other unforeseen things were going to happen, you know? It kind of didn't play out that way. Nobody really died. In fact, nobody died. No main character died. I guess I was expecting a little bit more carnage, more destruction, or at the very least, something happens with Mon Mothma. She becomes a fugitive of the Empire. Her husband sells her out. Something changed in the status quo, but it didn't. And that to me kind of felt a little bit like, man, we've been saving up for all this, and there's all this tension, and then it kind of just like, no, we'll see you guys next season, and that's it. That's about it. And then, little side note, we do get a little post-credit scene, and we see that they were making... scene.
Yeah, dude.
They were making the whole time in Arkina 5 the little dish
for... The death dish.
Yeah, for the Death Star.
Laser dish.
I think I called it. I think I called it.
4 makes the same part. It's just like... just the star-shaped gear or something like that.
I wonder if it's going to eventually play into being part of the Death Star.
I think we'll get to see eventually like a quick shot of it being used and being like, oh shit, that's what we were making. And it being a part of some sort of death machine. So going back to my oh shit moment, I feel like my oh shit moment, my perfect oh shit moment for this finale would have been like you hear the Imperial March start, they're there at Ferrix, and like Palpatine comes in. He's like, what happened here? Like this didn't go to plan or something like that. I would have loved that. Some kind of fan service. Just a little bit of fan service. Throw like a cameo in there from somebody. You wouldn't even have to show Palpatine's face. Just like have him. You hear the Imperial March and you see him address somebody that we know, like Dedra or somebody, being like, I don't know what the line would be. It would probably be something really cool, but just having that familiarity of Star Wars come back and like hearing the Imperial March or something like that, and Palpatine, the silhouette of him showing up and saying I think that would have really capped off the season for me and really made me like, it would have given me a little bit of an ocean, not a huge one, but enough.
So with that being said, folks, just the final thoughts on Andor as a whole, as a series, as a concept. What did you like about it? Maybe what can be better? What was there dislikes?
I just love how intimate it gets with the rebellion. Like, this is something that has been left out, sadly. Like, you get little hints of it in the original trilogy, and that's it. This rebellion that started the whole thing. Like, this backstory of the Empire and how they took over and how they started taking over, and the rebellion and how that came to be. Like, we never got to see any of that. And when I was a little kid watching, you just like buy into it. You're like, okay, the rebellion's a thing, the Empire's a thing. It's all established. But Andor brings it down to our level where we can understand the very beginnings of this struggle. It's a very intimate setting of learning the lives of these people and what causes them to rise up. The story is so well written. These are characters that you wouldn't care about or blink an eye at. In Rogue One, I honestly didn't even care for Rogue One too much. I did like it, but I wasn't in love with it or anything like that. But I can see myself now going back and revisiting it and just completely seeing it from a whole different angle, a whole different view. Like, I could just see me watching anything Star Wars related from this point on and just feeling that much more, rooting that much more for those X-Wings going in and fighting. That's why I love this series. I do see what other people say, though, and how it is slow. It can be slow. It is a little bleak. It is kind of a daunting undertask. undertaking, especially knowing it's 12 episodes. A lot of people are going to be like, I don't know if I want to watch 12 episodes of this really slow, bleak show. But I really think if you give it the time and effort, like, it pays off. That's what this makes the show so good, is that it has that setup and payoff. But I can see that it's not for the everyday Star Wars lover. It doesn't have a lot of the jokes. It doesn't have a lot of the whimsy and fun that regular Star Wars has. And I wish it did have a little bit more of those things. I wish it did have some, like, fun, pointless jokes every now and then. Just to get a laugh in here and there. Regardless of the fact that it doesn't have all that fun stuff, and regardless of, like, it being kind of tough to get into, I would give this whole thing a 9 out of 10. It's almost a 10 out of 10 for me. I completely loved every episode. I was so involved and so on the edge of my seat, trying to figure out what's happening, what's going on with these characters, and just falling in love with new characters.
When it comes to dislikes, I can say that it is a little too bleak. I think it can use a tiny little bit of levity, a little sprinkling. One more thing is, I think the name Andor really hurt it. That's one thing that, looking back, he's not really like the main character. He's part of an ensemble with Luthen, with Mon Mothma.
It's about the starting of a rebellion.
Yeah.
So maybe you call it Star Wars Rebellion, or Star Wars The Rebel Spirit, or something else.
I think anything would have been better than
But
Andor.
they just banked on people like, oh, Andor from Rogue One. So it's a Star Wars character. Oh, okay, so this is somebody we know about. Maybe we want to learn more about him.
Was it that one guy that died in that one movie we met him in? So I definitely think that naming it Star Wars Andor really hurt it, because a lot of people either, one, didn't know who Andor was, they forgot about him, or two, even if you know who he is, he's that one guy you met in that one movie, and then he died.
Yeah.
This normal human. So it hurts people's expectations, comparing it to something like next to Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian, Let's face it, Andor is a weak name. He's not a household name as a character. Give it a stronger hook for the title. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. I fully agree with you. When you said that, I was like, damn, he's right.
Even in this episode, there was a part in the funeral procession where they're like, weren't they chanting like Sky and Stone?
Yes.
So, like, just name it Sky and Stone. I think that would have been better. And people would have been like, what is this about? And then it pays off in the last episode where people are chanting like, oh crap, that's why they're naming it. Sky and Stone. And then, like, the whole, like, I don't know. I mean, it could have, maybe it's not that great, but it's better than Andor.
Yes, I agree with that. And that's something I'd never thought of, but you're so right. And I do wish now that they had changed the title a little bit. But be it as it may, I'm glad Andor exists. And I'm glad we followed this character's journey. It's okay if not everybody is willing to jump in the first go of this series. Maybe it's not for the investors and whatnot, but it'll be a cult hit. If anything, people will learn that this show is worth their time. It might take a little bit of time to get there, but I know this show has planted itself as a firm entry in Star Wars canon, and it's not going anywhere. Do you have any theories for the next season?
Honestly, right now, I do not. Honestly,
I think we're going to pick up first episode next season. We're going to see Kino in the prison. All the prisoners have swam off. A boat full of female prisoners from the prison next door comes by. And Kino swims over, and they pick up Kino, and Kino gets to get on that boat, and then he takes off into freedom with all those female prisoners.
Scantily clad ladies.
Yes, and then his story begins.
Star Wars Kino, coming February 2024. So thank you so much for joining us, guys. It's always a pleasure to talk about the stuff we love, our geek culture stuff. And have a great Thanksgiving, guys. Have a great time. Enjoy yourself some great food. Have some cold ones. Spend time with loved ones. Ooh, yeah. And be safe, folks. So we'll see you guys soon. We'll think of something to do, or maybe around Christmas time. So we'll see you guys then. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, my man. What a great show. What a great time.
Andor, baby.
Until next time.